So we're joined by Joanne Peterson, the Executive Director of Learn to Cope, and Marcy Julian, who will be heading up the Western Mass chapter. Learn to Cope, Joanne, is a support group for families and parents who have loved ones who are addicted to drugs. Tell me a little bit about your story and why you founded this group.
I founded this group back in 2004, 10 years ago, and it was because I needed help. I was struggling on what to do. My son at the time was just graduating from high school, and he had gone to a house where a dad was providing alcohol to underage kids, and unfortunately he also provided opiate pills crushed up on a mirror. And he was like all the stories we hear. He played football, basketball. He had never been arrested in his life. He had gone to this party and made a risky decision to try something that he didn't even know what it was. Turned out to be opiates. A lot of Oxycontin was out there at the time. And him and 5 other boys were there that night. One of them ended up dying about 2 years later. But it brought our family down a hellish road, and I had never heard of Oxycontin. I had no idea heroin was snortable and available. I live in a suburb, thinking everything was safe. But I also was not new to addiction. I had a brother and a sister that struggled with alcohol, and a brother with cocaine. So I had warned all my children about alcohol, cocaine, marijuana.
You did all the right things.
And my husband and I we were just trying to do everything that any family would in loving our children and taking care of them, and then this happened. And like I said, I had never heard of Oxycontin, and it took a long time to figure out what was wrong with him, because it can be very tricky. It looks like depression, it looks like mental illness, because they go up, they go down. They go from being someone that might have a lot of ambition and have a job to someone that can't get out of bed and wants to sleep all day, and then they're up all night. So at first I thought it was bipolar or some sort of mental illness, and he was sick all the time, so I thought I was bringing him to the doctor thinking he had some sort of stomach issues, which was withdrawal. So it took me a long time to figure it out. Then once I did figure it out, that was probably one of the worst days of my life, by the time I found out what was wrong, he was already shooting heroin.
And so this group does what? This group supports parents. What is the purpose of the group?
The purpose of the group, what I model it today to be, is everything I needed and did not get. Education on addiction, for one, support, resources, and hope. So we try to make every meeting offer all 4 of those things. When I went through it back in those days, I had to just hit brick wall after brick wall. I didn't know that a detox or the first detox wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. I didn't know how hard it was to get treatment, how hard it was to afford, and believe me, it's extremely expensive if they don't have insurance. I didn't realize how dangerous this was and how easily he could die until I found him in, turning blue. You just, as a parent going through this, not only are you dealing with all of that and you're scared to death, and you go to a meeting and they say, just let go, there's nothing you can do. That never made sense to me, because if he had diabetes or cancer, would I just say, well, there's nothing I can do about it? I want to learn about it. And having been a sibling to a brother and a sister who suffered from addiction, I thought, well, if this is going to be my son, I want to learn more about this. How can I help without making him worse? And I need support, I need help. And picking him up from detoxes, because of HIPAA, they can't tell you anything. Right. But if you go to the hospital because your son has cancer, they want to educate you. So I thought, you know what, that's what we need. We need education.
So Marcy, you also have a similar story that you had.
Yes.
One of your children had an addiction as well.
Yes.
But now you're opening up this chapter in Western Massachusetts. It's got to provide a lot of hope to parents around here.
Well, that's what, I'm listening to Joanne and I'm thinking, I turned to Learn to Cope for many of the same reasons that Joanne founded it. And sadly, my son, like so many other kids, made a poor choice one day that had horrible consequences. And I add that 1 in 6 people who experiment become addicted. But what I first experienced when I finally joined Learn to Cope was a sense of hope, because you're so overwhelmed as a parent when you learn that, something you never thought would happen in your family.
No, you come from a good family, good town, suburbs, right? You don't think, it doesn't matter where you are, really.
It doesn't, and as Joanne said last night, it doesn't know a zip code. Addiction doesn't know a zip code. And it's true, and I think that's a misconception. I started attending the meetings in Worcester prior to this chapter, which is starting next week, and found a group of people just like me, people who love their children, were involved in their lives, ate dinner with them, was at all of their youth sports games, coached their teams. We all did the same thing. And it's very hard to come to terms as a parent with the fact that because it's such an uncontrollable disease, we have to come to terms with the fact that we have to stop feeling guilty because we didn't cause it. But then we quickly learn that we can't control it either. So we have to, on the one hand, educate ourselves and learn how to become strong so that we can be there for the rest of our family and for our loved one.
And that's an important point as well, that all of your families have been down this road. So it wasn't just your children, the one child who was addicted. It becomes, unfortunately, tumultuous for the entire family.
Yes.
I want to just touch briefly, the Department of Health is now funding your work as well?
Mm-hmm. A year ago, the Department of Public Health started to fund Learn to Cope because our chapters are very resourceful. I do a lot of work alongside the Bureau of Substance Abuse Services, DA's offices, sheriff's departments, and they like our model, and they saw how many people were benefiting by it over the years. So they did decide to fund us to spread it across the state more in areas that needed it. So they gave us 4 targeted areas to start groups. One was this area, Cape Cod, New Bedford, and Cambridge. We've started Cape Cod and Cambridge, and now we're starting Springfield, and then we'll start New Bedford. And what we do now is I go to that community and I help people to network it and to make it sustainable. So we'll be coming for a period of time to assist Marcy. And then what will happen is after a while, people that come to the group, if those people want to become facilitators, then they'll join Marcy in buddying up. And then we step back and support it from behind the scenes, and we still go, but it's not going to be our group, it will be the community's group, it will be Marcy leading it up. And we'll also train people how to save their kids' lives if they see an overdose.
So real quick, the website is
www.learn and then the number 2 cope.org.
Thank you so much for joining us, Marcy and Joanne, and the best of luck to you.
Thank you.